The national president of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, CRM political party, Professor Maurice Kamto, condemns the Cameroon government's intentions to organize the regional elections before the legislative and municipal elections. According to Professor Maurice Kamto, this is illegal and it is a strategy to systematically eliminate the CRM, a political party with its leaders who are being detained. And of course, we'll also be talking about the Anglophone crisis in this newscast, with several villages in the northwest and southwest regions of the country that have been destroyed by the Anglophone crisis. Also in this newscast, we will talk about the ruling party in Algeria that is also calling for the resignation of the country's ailing president, Abdulaziz Bouteflika. Several towns and villages in the two Anglophone regions of the Republic of Cameroon have been destroyed by the Anglophone crisis that has continued deepening for close to 3 years today. One of such localities is Mbonge subdivision in the southwest region of the country, where reports indicate that life is gradually returning to normalcy in Mbonge, which is now a ghost of its self. Details in this report by Smanji Kangebre.
This is all what is left of the Mbonge District Hospital in Mbonge subdivision of Meme Division, Southwest region. The town that used to be booming is now quiet as a result of the crisis plaguing the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon.
The difficulties we have here, there's no hospital. We used to carry our cocoa and crops in the bush. Yeah, they destroy it. We are hungry here because we don't have food. We need some carrot food. We don't have water. We have water. Electricity, all the poles are down. We also need means of communication.
If you look at the people population, some of them are in the forest, some are around still afraid. But thank God that at least things are becoming normal.
The mayor, Chief Daniel Mata Mokambe, who has been away from his municipality for 1 year and 2 months, visits his town for the first time as he meets an empty and dirty office. The chief's palace, that used to be very lively, is also down. The divisional officer from Mbonge subdivision says the crisis has left a very bad mark on its population, even though peace is gradually returning.
The mayor is a nodal initiative, and I would like to thank also military who permit us to restore peace in Mbonge. But now, today, we are seeing all the difficulties we have here. Even food, even school, they are nothing. Now, we count on local elite, even external, to come and assist us. Because this situation is not only the situation of the divisional officer. We count on them and they come back to sensitize their children, like the head of state said, to ask their children weapon, gun and bullet.
The crisis has also led to the abandonment of several projects within the municipality. The population that has been suffering were happy beneficiaries of foodstuffs from the mayor, who returned to his hometown after years outside as a result of the crisis. Everyone in the subdivision is now calling on peace to return to the Cocoa-Rich subdivision of Meme Division.
And the deepening Anglophone crisis has equally badly affected the health of inhabitants of the two regions, especially children. Stella reports from Bamenda.
The health situation of children in the Northwest region remains of great concern, despite measures taken by government to redress the situation. It is further worsened by the crisis rocking the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon. Polio, being a contagious disease caused by a virus that attacks the limbs, weakens and paralyzes them for life, experts say it can be prevented via routine vaccinations. The 2018 vaccination campaign report indicates a very low coverage rate for the Northwest region. The low vaccination coverage has been blamed on the prolonged crisis in the Northwest region that has caused many health centers and units, mostly in the rural areas, to close down. In this regard, the health of children who are most vulnerable to the disease is at stake, reason why the government and partners will be organizing a vaccination campaign against poliomyelitis. Parents and guardians are therefore advised to make available their kids during the vaccination period, given that the effects of not taking the vaccine is detrimental, as children run the risk of dying or being disabled for life. Parents have also been called upon to take advantage of the vitamin A and mebendazole vaccines that will exceptionally be available for children aged 6 months to 5 years and 12 months to 5 years respectively. During a press briefing recently in Bamenda, it was declared that the vaccination campaign for the month of March will run from the 29th to the 31st of March 2019. A mobile team of health experts will be on the field from door to door in markets, churches and other public places to administer the polio vaccine to children aged 0 to 5 years. The vaccine is free of charge.
Southwest region of the country, the unstable socio-political and security situation has equally been a major stumbling block to activities of health professionals, notably the vaccination of children. Derek Jato reports on Boya.
The 2019 National Immunization Days start March 29. These are days during which children aged 0 to 5 years receive the oral polio vaccine.
So it will be door to door, and the hope is that we want to use the families, the communities, members of social groups, women, and reach out to as many children as we can. We shall be vaccinating against polio, and then we shall be supplementing with vitamin A.
Health experts say the vaccination will protect children and pregnant women against other 12 infectious and life-threatening diseases. And as the health sector already lauded by the international body for kicking out polio keep the pace, it is no secret that this 2019 vaccination campaign in the Southwest region is trapped. The Anglophone crisis has brought war to the doorsteps, and many children have died not from polio but bullet and other diseases in the bushes.
We know the context in which we are. There are so many challenges. Parents have challenges to come out with their children.
Though no case has been recorded as of now, but medics say the poor hygienic condition of these children is also a breeding ground for polio. Reason why the Southwest Regional Delegate for Public Health, Dr. Mbome Victonje, briefed the press this eve of the National Immunization Days on the need to create a safe haven for the health personnel to penetrate even into the bushes for the vaccination against poliomyelitis.
We should be able to pass on messages which will make everyone collaborate with us. We have a responsibility to make sure that we build a healthy nation. Okay, and it starts with building, making sure that our children are healthy.
Apart from the door-to-door in households, vaccination will also be taking place in gathering spots like market, churches, palaces, mosques, bus stations, just to name these few.
The Cameroon Renaissance Movement (CRM) political party condemns the intention of the Cameroon government to organize the regional elections before the legislative and municipal elections. According to the president of the CRM political party, Professor Maurice Kamto, it is illegal to organize the regional elections before the legislative elections, and this is also considered as a strategy to eliminate the CRM political party. Has more.
In a release issued Tuesday, March 26, 2019, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party president, Professor Maurice Kamto, and his allies, Christian Bendayekoka, Albert Nzongang, and Paul-Eric Kinge, say their over 2 months detention, which they qualify as illegal, is a strategy by the ruling CPDM party to eliminate them from elections bid for this 2019. Regretting the fact that President Paul Biya should be the only person to do and undo the electoral calendar in Cameroon, Professor Maurice Kamto and co-allies condemn government's possible attempt to organize regional elections before legislative elections this year. President Paul Biya last October 2018 extended the mandates of municipal councillors and parliamentarians for a period of 12 months following the saturated electoral calendar of 2018. Maurice Kamto and co-allies say electing regional councillors before municipal councillors will be illegitimate, as the current mandate of municipal councillors, though legal, is illegitimate as their 5 years legitimate mandate, according to Electoral Code, expired in 2018. March 26 marked exactly 2 months following the nationwide peaceful protest of the CRM political party that led to the arrest of militants, supporters and sympathizers of the party still being detained in Yaoundé.
Coming up, Immaculate Fogwe takes a look at the situation of roads in Lum in the Mongo division of the littoral region of the country, as it is the case from big cities right into the hinterlands. Several roads in the locality are in an advanced state of dilapidation. Her report.
It takes a lot of courage to circulate on these bumpy and dusty roads in some localities like Trasong Bonkem, PMI Kenchu, and the central town of Lum in the Mongo division of the littoral region. Even for pedestrians, the ordeals are equally felt. The inhabitants of this locality describe the roads as a nightmare as a result of its slippery and swampy state during the rainy season.
Nous sommes dépassés.
It is barely a month that the rain started, and our roads are deplorable. Our gutters are full, and the movement of persons and vehicles on this road is a veritable nightmare. It is a catastrophic situation. Inhabitants of this area describe the previous work carried out on the road as a mockery to them. It is less than a month that rehabilitation works were carried out on this road twice, but the aftermath were catastrophic as nothing durable was realized. It seems as if it is a mockery to us. Look at the gutters. Those we construct in our farms are far better than this. The inhabitants are equally decrying the poor execution of the projects. I can't understand how such a contract handled by the Ministry of Public Works is not just taking a snail pace, but the type of work done is really poor. In order to improve the state of roads within the municipality and solve other problems, the councillors adopted 640,643,000 francs CFA as budget for 2019. It has increased by 9%, that is close to 62 million francs CFA.
In Algeria, the country's ruling party, the National Liberation Front, FLN, is calling on the president of the country, Bouteflika, to step down. A similar call had earlier come from a partner of the ruling political party, the National Rally for Democracy. Details with Euronews.
Algeria's 82-year-old President Abdelaziz Bouteflika sits in a chair, mute, paralysed and barely able to move his hands. Finally, the man widely thought to be the power behind the throne, Army Chief Lieutenant General Ahmed Gayed Salah, has called for his removal. In what's being seen by observers as an orchestrated move, Salah appeared on national television. He told his audience the time had come to trigger a constitutional process declaring Bouteflika unfit for office. Age may be a factor, but it's mostly down to more than a month of mass popular protests which have shaken Algeria. The demonstrations have been the largest in over 30 years and have grown larger every week and seem unstoppable. The protesters' demands have been clear. After 2 decades of undivided reign, Bouteflika, his clan and his system must go. An offer by Bouteflika that he would not run for a 5th term, which the government had portrayed as a major concession, was roundly rebuffed by the protesters. Now the army chief will invoke Article 102 of the Constitution, which declares the presidency vacant if the incumbent is too ill. There will be a caretaker leader during a transition period of over 4 months to elect a new president. But some of those who've taken to the streets don't think the dramatic intervention of the military will mean a clear out of the old order.
We won't stop here. We will keep the movement and we will keep observing until we reach our aim, which is the change of government. And they all have to go, God willing. It is a brave decision and it's the first step on the long path towards democracy. We appreciate this step and we are awaiting more. The movement will continue until we reach a democratic republic, the second republic.
Salah says the military and the people have a united vision of the future, but will the transition period be used by Algeria's elite to manoeuvre themselves into holding on to their privileges? Evelyn Laverick, Euronews.
That's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is coming up next. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. In Talking Point, we are receiving a politician. Tayon Elvis is a member of the CRM, the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Babila Jonathan. It's my pleasure being here once more.
What's your take on the situation in Algeria, ailing President Bouteflika clinging on power?
Well, it's a call for concern because when you look at it, somebody is having what they call the incapacity to govern. He cannot move freely, and of course he cannot do what a right thinking or an able body somebody can do. And of course he's still clinging onto power despite the numerous street protests. And the same case runs through most African countries where we have dictators, with equally Cameroon is also a member of it, because as I said earlier, once you are young and energetic, the output you can produce is far-fetched than someone who is, first of all, advanced in age. 81, Bouteflika is, and some of our presidents are 85, 86, 87, and you understand why Africa keeps lagging behind. And Africa, Europe and America looks at Africa as a laughing stock, because they see it, they cannot understand why somebody cannot relinquish power at a time when he cannot even deliver, even when his age is fast playing on. It's a poor situation, and that explains why Africa keeps going backward the way it is as we find today.
And serious pressure has been piling on him from the population, the ruling party, even the partner of the coalition, and of course even the army.
Yes, the pressure keeps mounting, but as we said, Africa is still to understand the governance policy. When we talk about Africa experiencing democracy, Africa is far-fetched from that, because I realize that the democracy Africa is pretending to follow is a borrowed culture that does not suit the sociological and anthropological components, including the historicity of Africa. So if we talk about democracy, the kind of democracy we will find in Europe and America cannot be here. So at the long run, we discover that the question now is, why must African leaders be forced out of power? I mean, Bouteflika has been on for decades. Just like we talk about Cameroon, we talk about other countries, and the question is, why Equatorial Guinea? Why should all these presidents be there for long, and until circumstances are pushing them out? So it means that.
And you mentioned the case of Cameroon. with a president who has been in power for more than 3 decades today. And we saw what happened in Algeria. The population, the citizens mounted pressure on Bouteflika, and he denied standing for re-election. But in Cameroon, we've been having calls coming from political parties like yours, the CPP, for example, that has been calling for a transition without necessarily going through the ballot box. In other words, those who are in power now should quit. The population should force them out of power. But we haven't seen such mobilization like what we saw in Algeria and Cameroon.
Well, you know that the historical components that makes up Cameroon is different from Algeria. Now you realize that first, the presidents of the Republic of Cameroon, in the previous governments, they have put in place the system of what they call divide and rule. And with divide and rule, they have decided to impoverish the poor people such that at each point in time, the few elites who manned the government machinery in Cameroon are always there with money to buy people's consciences. And so that's where we had the problem. But we think that with the CRM party and a host of others who will be joining the crew like CPP, we think that it is for them to understand that the time for change is now, and time is no longer on our side. And that's the more reason why you see, just by men moving on the streets, as you find it, it became a problem. Why? Because many saw it and they could not believe that this is a political party that is coming, standing the test of time for the first presidential election so far, but yet had to go all this far, making the powers that be to tremble. Because why is it that each time CRM wants to go out, you have to get military position in all angles? It was not happening in other political parties.
And up to today, leaders of the CRM political party and some militants are still in detention, including the national president, Professor Maurice Kamto, and other allies like Christian Penda, Ekoka. And later, a release has been issued condemning government's intentions to organize the regional elections before the legislative and municipal elections. Why is this considered as a strategy to eliminate the CRM political party?
Well, you understand that we are first of all working in a kangaroo system that has what it takes to maneuver elections, maneuver policies that will suit only those in power. And so when we look at the getting President, Professor Maurice Kamto, into jail and the co, it's not surprising to us because we understand that the regime where we serve is where we are is a regime that is capable of doing and undoing all what it's supposed to do. But now what is quite much preoccupying is for the fact that as we move along the ladder, one thing is for sure that when you look at the incarceration that we find, is politically motivated. If you look at everything that surrounds it, you discover it's politically motivated. And the next question you start asking, do we have justice in this country? The answer is no. Now, when you look at the elections coming up, we call it a masquerade election because, as we said earlier, you understand, you and I as a journalist understand that the mandates of the present councillors have expired. They are working on prolongation. Under normal condition, you are supposed to get new councillors that are supposed to vote new regional councillors. But on the contrary, we have another thing whereby people have outstayed their leave, they are about going out, but how do you come to vote in some people when you yourself, you are going out already? And that's why you said, you see this, for example, that we have not been very comfortable in the manner in which the elections are placed in the regional. It means that it's a calculated attempt to remove CRM from the program. And that explains why, if we're talking about democracy, you can't call those kind of elections that come in, whereby people are living on an expired mandate by law. Councillors are living on prolongation, and you see them to come and stand now to be involved in regional elections when few months after that some of them will no longer serve. So what essence is that? You see that as political injustice.
The national president of the CRM rightly indicated, as you said, that organizing regional elections before the legislative and the municipal is illegal because the mandate of the present councillors had expired. But the prolongation was equally done within the ambit of the law.
Now, when we talk about the prolongation done within the ambit of the law, you get that we are working on an extension. But working on an extension, if you look at it legally, use a legal mind or a logistical mind or a logical mind. Does it sound that somebody who's on prolongation will vote somebody to occupy a place where he himself is going out already? It's not compatible. Now, for elections to move in line, those who are supposed to vote councillors, those who are supposed to vote for regional councillors are supposed to be incumbents, current councillors who are not living on prolongation. That's why we see that, Professor Maurice Kamto and the rest, these are legal minds. And when we're looking within the ambit of the law, you cannot get somebody on prolongation at the same time you are telling that person who is about going out to vote somebody who will sit in. Now, if you want the elections to be compatible, people come in. Councillors come in first at the level of the municipal councillor and the parliamentary. After that now, the fresh people who are in now will now go a long way to vote those who are regional councillors so that all of them have the same time frame to live, to stay as politicians within the given period of time. It makes a lot of sense than me voting you. Now, why is that calculation attempt? Because as of now, the CPDM, for example, and the powers that be are scared. Why are they scared? They are not sure of the outcome of the parliamentary and the municipal elections. And because of that fear, since as they know presently now that they have a majority of the councillors under what they have been put in place, the evil mechanisms that have been put in place, so they think that a majority of these people should have a say to restore them at the regional councils before they can be kicked out at the parliamentary and the municipal by CRM, which is obviously going to take place.
All right, the CRM political leaders are still in detention today. What's their situation?
Well, the situation of the leaders in detention is that first, the powers that be in the party have been clamoring on their release, and we have no negotiation on the table. There are no two things we have to talk about than the fact that they have to be released. And I bet you that if you look at the leaders incarcerated, it tells you, it damages the image of the country as a country whose justice is found wanting, because these are political prisoners. These are people who are being used by the government to settle their scores. It's not like
the government has repeatedly said they were arrested and they are being detained in respect of the law.
That is government's propaganda. If you say respect of the law, now we say what law have they violated? Now, if we have a political party existing and we informed you that this is what we intend to do, and of course, instead of you knowing that you promote democracy to guard us, protect us, to carry our marches in the respective places and come back, you instead release the military who come in to brutalize the poor people. So where is the justice we're talking about? So the government talking about the law is the first person who has violated the law. Right, so where is freedom of speech and political activities in the country?
And one of the things your party has been fighting for is an end to the ongoing killings, destruction of properties, and all the atrocities being committed in the northwest and southwest regions of the country.
Yep.
What's your take on the situation on the ground?
Well, you understand that in one of the in our match that took place before Professor Maurice Kamto and co were arrested, top on the agenda, apart from electoral hold-up, was to see into it that the violence in the northwest and southwest is brought to an end. And so when you look at it critically, when we say we have a kangaroo system existing, now you cannot see people who say that they are totally against the killings in the northwest and southwest. You catch them and imprison. Yet after the imprisonment, I want to tell you, hundreds of persons have died after that till now. Of course, we understand on Sunday, dozens were killed in Bamenda. A pastor from the Presbyterian Church has been killed in Widukum. So you ask yourself, if you catch people who say people should not be killed and imprisoned, then you continue killing. Now, are you providing a solution to the Anglophone crisis or not? That is where the trouble comes in. As a result of that, CRM looks at it as the government acting in bad faith and who is not even willing to bring an end to the Anglophone crisis. And that's the more reason why we get so worried about that.
What should be done at this juncture of the crisis?
At this juncture, there are no two things. In the first place, all political prisoners must be released. We repeat, unconditionally. Once you release Professor Maurice Kamto, you release the entire executive member and the rest, it could start being a little way.
And Siseko Ayuktabi
and the rest, because we are talking about a holistic dialogue. Now, political actors have a say in the Anglophone crisis. When you catch them and put into prison, now, do you look logical in promoting democracy? The answer is no. So at the end of it, the real way forward is that Professor Maurice Kamto and co must be released unconditional, whether we like it or not, because these are the people who had a good agenda in ensuring that things are done properly in this country for democracy to take its course. Unfortunately, as usual, some will hold it the way they are and think that incarcerating them is the best way. But we think that they must be released unconditional. That's what our party holds, and the stand is firm on conditional release of all of them, and including even the Amazonian leaders. Once this is done, it creates now an enabled environment whereby we can now sit as politicians, as government agents, whatever the case might be, to talk about the way forward. Remember, any soul you kill, these are Cameroonians we are killing every day as if they are foreigners. So the government is not doing any good at all as I speak.
All right, Tayon Elvis, you're a journalist, member of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement political party. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure having been with all of you today.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today.